In the boundless void of the universe, the Creator's hand began to weave the fabric of existence. The earth, once formless and void, awaited the touch of divine artistry. In a moment of unparalleled creativity, the Creator reached into the essence of the earth itself. From the rich, fertile soil dark as the mysteries of the cosmos and teeming with potential, he formed the first human, Adam. This soil, known in Hebrew as Adamah, was not just dirt, but a sacred material, vibrant with life and fertility. Adam's body, shaped from this soil, reflected its richness. His skin bore the tone of the earth that nurtures all life. The Creator's breath filled Adam's lungs, and with it, consciousness awakened. As Adam's eyes opened, the first light of creation bathed him, connecting him to the soil, the sky, and the divine. This was the beginning of humanity, formed with purpose and an unbreakable bond to the earth itself. Adam stood in the Garden of Eden, a realm unlike any other. The soil beneath his feet pulsed with life, its dark richness a symbol of vitality and creation. Rivers flowed like liquid diamonds, nourishing the lush vegetation that surrounded him. The trees bore fruit in abundance, their roots anchored deep in the same fertile ground from which Adam was created. Every step he took echoed the sacred connection between his existence and the earth. The garden teemed with animals of every kind, each species reflecting the harmony of creation. The soil was not merely a backdrop, but the source of life itself, a testament to the Creator's design. Adam marveled at the interconnectedness of it all, feeling the breath of the divine in the breeze and the hum of life in the earth beneath his feet. Enjoying the story? Like, subscribe, and share to support us. Let's continue. In his solitude, Adam learned the rhythms of the garden. He tilled the soil with his hands, discovering its boundless potential. The fertile earth, dark and rich, yielded an abundance of crops, teaching Adam the cycle of life and growth. He saw his reflection in the dark soil, its way, its vitality, its ability to nurture. It was as if the Creator had left a part of himself in the earth, and by extension, in Adam. This connection became the foundation of Adam's understanding of his purpose: to care for the garden, to cultivate it, and to ensure its prosperity for generations to come. The creation of Eve transformed Adam's journey. Formed from Adam's rib, Eve shared his connection to the earth, her presence completing the harmony of creation. Together, they walked through Eden, marveling at its splendor. Eve, like Adam, reflected the beauty of the soil from which they were formed. Their bond with the earth extended to one another, their union mirroring the cycles of nature growth, harmony, and renewal. The garden flourished under their care, the fertile ground responding to their touch as if it recognized its kinship with them. Over time, the story of Adam's creation from Adamah became central to sacred texts. Hebrew scholars reflected on the significance of this connection, interpreting Adam's origin as a symbol of humanity's unity with the earth. The dark, fertile soil from which he was formed became a metaphor for life itself, representing potential, sustenance, and growth. These early interpretations not only honored the physical act of creation, but also emphasized the spiritual bond between humanity and the earth. This bond, sacred and enduring, reminded generations of their responsibility to nurture the world as Adam once did. As Adam and Eve's descendants began to spread across the earth, they carried with them the story of their origin, the dark, fertile soil from which Adam was created. These stories found a home in the lands of Africa and the Middle East, where the earth's richness mirrored the vitality of their ancestors. In these regions, humanity cultivated the land, planting seeds that would sustain entire civilizations. The soil's fertility became the foundation of agricultural innovations, and with it, societies flourished. Fields of grain stretched toward the horizon, while rivers like the Nile and the Euphrates ensured abundance. This deep connection to the earth, passed down through generations, became a cornerstone of human progress and culture. The cradle of civilization spanning Africa and the Middle East became a place of profound innovation and cultural exchange. Here, humanity's earliest achievements in architecture, writing, and governance were born. These advancements were fueled by the same fertile soil from which Adam was formed, a sacred resource that nourished life and inspired creation. Cities like Mesopotamia and Thebes rose from the ground, their people thriving through the gifts of the earth. This soil, dark and fertile, became synonymous with the promise of prosperity and the continuity of life. The lineage of Noah carried forward Adam's legacy. After the flood, Noah's sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth spread out to populate the earth. Ham, traditionally associated with Africa, became the ancestor of peoples who thrived in regions rich with resources and culture. These lands, brimming with life, were a continuation of the sacred connection to the earth. From the deserts of Nubia to the lush savannas of Ethiopia, the descendants of Ham forged paths that reflected the strength and vitality of their heritage. Among Ham's descendants, the kingdom of Cush emerged as a beacon of power and wisdom. Situated in the heart of modern-day Sudan and Ethiopia, Cush was a land celebrated in biblical texts. Its people, renowned for their strength and resilience, became central figures in the narratives of early scripture. The fertile lands of Cush, nourished by the Nile, produced wealth and sustenance, symbolizing the divine blessing on this African kingdom. The Queen of Sheba, a descendant of this lineage, exemplified the wisdom and wealth of Africa. Her journey to meet King Solomon, bearing gifts of gold, spices, and precious stones, represented a historic exchange of knowledge and culture. Her presence in Solomon's court showcased the deep ties between Africa and biblical Israel. Sheba's heritage, rooted in Ethiopia, cemented Africa's significance in the biblical narrative. Moses, a central figure in the Bible, further illustrated Africa's role in divine history. His marriage to a Cushite woman underscored the blending of cultures and the Creator's affirmation of diversity. Despite challenges from his own family, God's defense of Moses and his wife reminded humanity that all people are equal in the eyes of the divine. This union between Moses and his Cushite wife became a symbol of harmony and inclusivity. The Song of Solomon celebrated beauty in all its forms, including skin tones that reflected the warmth of the sun. "I am black and beautiful," proclaims the protagonist, echoing the Creator's appreciation for diversity. These verses, steeped in poetic reverence, highlighted the timeless beauty of humanity's varied appearances, reinforcing that all creation was intentionally crafted. Jeremiah, one of the great prophets, spoke of the people of Cush with admiration, describing their distinct and noble appearance. His writings reinforce the biblical recognition of African peoples, their significance woven into the tapestry of sacred history. These acknowledgments celebrated the diversity of humanity and the Creator's intentional design. The early Christian church thrived in Africa, with theologians like Augustine of Hippo shaping the faith. Born in modern-day Algeria, Augustine's writings on grace, sin, and redemption became cornerstones of Christian thought. His African heritage enriched his perspective, bridging cultural divides and emphasizing the universality of divine love. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, established in the 4th century, became a testament to Africa's enduring spiritual legacy. Its traditions, deeply rooted in local culture, merged seamlessly with Christian doctrine. The rock-hewn churches of Lalibela, carved from solid stone, stood as monuments to faith, ingenuity, and devotion. The story of the Ethiopian eunuch, baptized by Philip in the Acts of the Apostles, marked a pivotal moment in the spread of Christianity. As a high-ranking official in the court of Queen Candace, the eunuch represented the power and wisdom of Ethiopia. His encounter with Philip on a desert road transformed his faith and brought the gospel into Africa. This moment signified not only the inclusivity of Christianity, but also its deep roots in African culture and tradition. African theologians like Tertullian and Cyprian of Carthage became pioneers of Christian doctrine. Tertullian, often called the father of Latin Christianity, coined the term Trinity and laid the groundwork for theological discourse. Cyprian, a bishop and martyr, emphasized unity within the church, advocating for faith even amidst persecution. These figures showcase the intellectual and spiritual contributions of African Christians to the global faith. Nubia and Kush, thriving African civilizations, held a prominent place in biblical and historical narratives. The Nubians, known for their advanced governance and architectural prowess, built pyramids that rivaled those of Egypt. Their influence extended far and wide, shaping trade routes, art, and culture. The fertile lands of Nubia symbolize the life-giving potential of the earth, echoing the themes of Adam's creation. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church preserved ancient manuscripts that offered unique perspectives on biblical stories. Illuminated texts, adorned with intricate designs, reflected the melding of African artistry and Christian theology. These texts became treasures of spiritual and cultural heritage, illuminating the African contributions to biblical history. The Desert Fathers and Mothers, many of African origin, sought spiritual enlightenment in the harsh wilderness of Egypt. Figures like Anthony the Great embraced asceticism, inspiring monastic traditions that would spread across the Christian world. Their devotion and teachings became cornerstones of Christian spirituality, emphasizing simplicity and a deep connection to the divine. The Queen of Sheba's legacy extended through Ethiopian traditions, immortalized in texts like the Kebra Nagast. These writings connected her lineage to the biblical King Solomon and established Ethiopia as a land blessed by divine favor. Her wisdom and leadership became enduring symbols of African strength and influence in the biblical narrative. The wealth and wisdom of the African kingdom of Kush were celebrated in Scripture, where its people were described as tall and smooth-skinned. This poetic imagery highlighted their prominence and the richness of their lands. The fertile banks of the Nile and their cultural contributions stood as a testament to the Creator's blessings upon them. The story of Perpetua and Felicitas, African Christian martyrs, became a powerful testament to faith amidst persecution. These young women faced death in the Roman arena, but stood firm in their beliefs. Their courage and sacrifice inspired countless Christians, underscoring the resilience of African believers in the early church. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church developed its own unique liturgical practices, blending African traditions with Christian worship. Festivals, songs, and dances celebrated the divine, creating a rich spiritual tapestry that continues to thrive today. These traditions highlighted the vibrancy of African Christianity and its role in enriching the global faith. As modern theology explored the origins of humanity, genetic studies affirmed that all humans share a common ancestry in Africa. This scientific perspective aligned with the biblical narrative of Adam's creation, emphasizing humanity's shared heritage. The dark, fertile soil from which Adam was formed became a symbol of unity, reminding humanity of its interconnectedness. Artistic depictions of biblical figures in Africa celebrated their diverse heritage. Early Ethiopian icons portrayed Jesus and Mary with African features, blending local culture with Christian devotion. These artworks challenged traditional Eurocentric portrayals and reminded believers of the global nature of the faith. The ancient kingdom of Nubia influenced the biblical world through its cultural and economic power. Its leaders established trade networks that spanned continents, and its artists and builders left a legacy of ingenuity. These accomplishments highlighted the interwoven history of Africa and the Bible. As the centuries passed, the theological debate over Adam's origin continued to inspire reflection on humanity's shared beginnings. Scholars from diverse backgrounds delved into Scripture, seeking to reconcile the spiritual and historical aspects of creation. The narrative of Adam, formed from the dark, fertile soil of the earth, resonated deeply with modern understandings of human origins. Scientists and theologians alike pointed to Africa as the cradle of humanity, aligning genetic evidence with biblical accounts. This unity between faith and science emphasized the interconnectedness of all people, tracing every lineage back to a single, divine act of creation. The story of Adam, created from the dark, fertile soil, became a metaphor for humanity's potential and unity. This narrative, rooted in Africa, reminded all people of their shared beginnings and the Creator's vision of a harmonious world. The soil's richness symbolized humanity's capacity to grow, create, and thrive together. As the story of Adam comes full circle, it reminds us of the profound interconnectedness of humanity, the earth, and the divine. Adam, formed from the dark, fertile soil of the earth, was not merely the first human, but a symbol of the unity and diversity of all life. The soil, rich in its essence, represents the foundation upon which every civilization has grown its fertility, giving rise to cultures, its depth echoing the complexity of the human spirit. Adam's creation signifies more than the birth of one man. It is the genesis of a bond that ties all humans to one another and to the earth itself.